Hello, everyone, and thank you for your time. This is me, Anas, from the SPRU team. Me and my colleagues now we will present the findings of our research. I just want to recap. The research question is, to what extent is it possible to characterize typologies of policy proposals based on the theme of scientific employment and research careers? Next slide, please. In order to actually answer this question, we will utilize the approach of actually identifying the key themes related to scientific employment and research careers available in the policy proposal database. And we will guide you through the process of our research through the methodology and scope of analysis. Then we will go to the objective and targets of the policies. Then we will try to view the data sets through different lenses, including gender, research careers, and intersectoral mobility. And we will conclude with the findings of this research. Now I will lead you with the methodology section with my colleague, Young, please.
When it comes to research methodology, we have 4 key points to mention. So firstly, our analysis is based on the STIP campus dataset, and our analysis selects 3 things under the topic of HR policy as our main focus, including intersectoral mobility, research careers, and gender balance. Thirdly, we do a descriptive analysis and text mining. Finally, we interpret and draw a conclusion based on literature review. Next slide, please. When it comes to the text mining, we follow 5 steps. So we applied principal component analysis and clustering analysis. So we firstly, we extract the text of HR policy. So the text information is from short description and all objectives in the data set. Second, we delete words according to frequency and delete meaningless words manually. And then we get the turned frequency, a metric, and we conduct the PCA analysis. We have 2 components, but just can explain around 20% information of the whole test. And finally, we conduct k-means clustering. We select the suitable k-value and compare the different clustering. And then we connect the results with a literature review. Next slide, please. So here we think the PCA and k-means approach are most relevant to our main questions. So we think these 2 approaches can provide us a good view of typologies. Next slide.
Great, thank you, Young. So the research scope focused then on the 6 themes on human resources and 3 target groups. Let's take a look at the general data. So here we can see the percentage of the policies related to human resources. Most of the countries have between 20% to 60% of their policies related to human resources for research and innovation. Then we wanted to analyze the distribution of these focus across the different 6 themes. And we can see that here a heat map with the percentage based on distribution of budget per theme within each country. We can see that doctoral and postdoctoral research have higher percentages as well as STI human resource strategies. Some countries are focusing on different areas of the budget, and it's quite spread out. A closer look at a sample of 20 countries allows us to see the distribution in these themes, and our analysis will focus on research careers, gender, and international mobility, which my colleagues will present now.
Yes, next please. Yeah, so from here we will introduce the results by themes. The first one is research careers. The chart in the left-hand side is the result of the CPA, and we plotted the similarity of research career policies by country unit using the identified Unicom terms. And starting from that PCA result, we conducted tasks, the k-means clustering, and finally we revised the clustering manually, combining the knowledge from the literature and also bottom-up review of the individual policies and some extra analysis. And for the research career on the right-hand side, we identified 4 categories, and we bucketed the remaining outliers into the others bucket. one by one cluster A consisting of 12 countries such as Switzerland, Chile, France, and Hungary, Russia, and so on, has a key characteristic of employment creation. And the next one was Argentina, Belgium, Brazil, China, and so on, has tendency to focus on the research quality more generally. And the many policies target established researchers was another characteristic of this cluster. The third one, cluster C, countries tend to have policies to address gender equalities, and intensive targets for postdoctors are another characteristic of this cluster C. And finally, cluster D, which includes Austria and Poland, has the key characteristic of talent diversification, and they developed various policies such as international talent attraction, intersectoral mobility, and gender diversifications, and not surprisingly, they heavily target on PhD students. The next page is just a reference to illustrate the top 10 frequent unigrams, and also we combine again the findings from literature to triangulate the finding. And over to you, Sarah.
The next theme is gender balance and inclusion. So you can see in the left side is the PCA analysis. 3 clusters emerging, and on the right side is the K-means clustering. Among the clusters, we could see that equality and STI policy cluster, and majority of countries following this cluster, about 23 countries. Can you go to the one of the aspects of the gender pay gap is discrimination against which OECD countries. So we could see that the second major typology evolved was discrimination in higher education and academia. The glass ceiling for women in decision-making bodies directly relates to less participation of women. Hence, we could see that this explains cluster 3, which is diversity in federal countries, and also the cluster 4, underrepresentation. But if you see the underrepresentation, it is more general in the case that we could see the keywords as business and ecosystems, which shows that it involves both public and private research. And the last cluster is an amalgamation of 3 clusters where we could see the frequent words as budgeting, roadmap, and STEM careers. Over on to Anas.
Thank you, Sharda. Now we will look at the last lens that we selected, which is the intersectoral mobility. Through this lens, similar to what we did with other lenses, we try to cluster the countries according to their alignment. And here we can identify 2 main clusters. The first one, which is related more to innovation, industry, and research and private research, while the other countries are more aligned and related to their targeting of PhD students and established researchers. Plus, their focus on commercialization of public research. With mentioning that all the outliers, including Ireland, Spain, and Slovenia, actually we gathered them under the last cluster, which is cluster C. This is like another presentation of the keywords of identified under each one of those themes. And by now we reach the conclusion of our presentation. So to recap our research question, can we create a typology based on the for related to scientific employment and career and research career? We believe that yes, we can actually do that. However, similar to the research that we did with the research careers, we can create some general guidelines that actually can classify countries. This can help as serve as a typology per country per theme, and this aggregation can also help compare and analyze different countries according to their strategies. This also can help identify sub-themes of each one of them, and this kind of variation can be insightful for policymaking. So now we will just do a reflection on the actual approach that we did. Text mining is very interesting and there's a lot of potential for it. However, it is a very sensitive tool. Accordingly, like the kind of balance, the balance of the data set and the actual number of clusters or information that we have in our data set plays a major role in actually skewing the findings to one direction or the other. And accordingly, having a balanced data set that reflects all the countries in balanced way, it's very important. Another thing, which is like the importance of actually complementing this research with literature and through different lenses in order to make sure that the findings of this research, that the findings and the clusters that we actually can create are valid and consistent. And by that, we would like to conclude and thank you all. And thank all my teammates who actually supported me in developing this. And also, we would like to have a special thank you for Daniele for his continuous support and guidelines through the process. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation and staying in time. So yeah, I mean, it's really another really interesting way of summarizing the data, very structured way. So well done as well. Daniel, would you like to make a comment? You're currently muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, what can I say? First of all, I think the SPRU team deserves here to be nominated as one of the example of what is a team that is being working for policy maker somehow. Let's put things like that, and who has a need and needs to get some answer, because I feel that you have completely entered in my head. You understood completely what was my problem, and of course you have done what you can do. You are experts in sustainable development and strategic innovation management, in science and technology policy. You work with data, so you knew how to deal with the subject and how to solve the problem. And for me, that is really important to stress, because I think this is the objective of this exercise. I am very happy with this result, and for sure is not because of my help, for sure. Okay, so I only give you a very difficult problem, a very complex problem to solve, and you have managed to find the best way to give me the answer I was looking for, because I was looking for this, for a beginning of something. And this is the beginning of a very good thing to be done. And I hope OECD can use this in the projects we have in our hands. Thank you.